What's up? Welcome back. If you're the agent of Nicolas Cage, I need you to hear me on this. I need you to find him decent films. I know that seems like a challenge based on, well, what you've been finding him thus far. Occasionally, we stumble into something, but he's expressed a desire to retire in the somewhat near future, and we can't waste. We can't waste the Cage. You gotta stop. We need more films like Massive Talent and Pig and hell, even Longlegs. We don't need The Old Way, The Retirement Plan, and certainly not Gunslingers. What's up? Welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, and this is obviously a review of Gunslingers. I'm a blind film critic. This movie does have audio description. It is done by Roy Samuelson. I didn't stay till the end. Probably should have. Which was odd because I actually stayed long enough to know that they cut back to more footage in the credits that I felt was highly unnecessary. But, you never know the point at which somebody believes their own greatness. And I think that's what happened with this film. To be fair, Nicolas Cage actually doesn't star in this. Stephen Dorff does. So this is one of those cases where like Sylvester Stallone didn't actually star in Armor. Jason Patric did. Shia LaBeouf doesn't actually star in his film with Toby Kebbell, but yet they bill Shia as the lead. So it's the case where the bigger named actor is there to support and to bring attention in, even though Stephen Dorff is a highly recognizable actor anyway. And he also has Heather Graham in this movie with him. So we have three people who on name recognition alone should get people into the film. There's also Randall Batinkoff. I've seen him in a lot of things. Solid character actor, not at the same level of the other three people, but I mean, I know without having to check his IMDb page that dude has a lot of credits. So, what is Gunslingers? Well, if you click like and subscribe, I'll tell you. If you don't, then the film's just I think it ends. The video just ends if you don't click like and subscribe. The thing about likes, see, some people say click subscribe and then hit the notification bell. So likes help me fuel, because I'm so low on subscribers, I actually need to be kind of fueled in a way where I move up the chain of when searching for videos. So notifications are cool because it lets you know that I've made more videos, but I also make videos every day. So for me, telling you to activate the notification bell is probably obnoxious. It's better if you just subscribe and I'll appear in your feed and you can come check me out. And likes will help me find more subscribers, which will propagate me into your feed more often. It all kind of works out in the end. Anyway, Gunslingers. Oh, man. Stephen Dorff plays Thomas, who's making a strong acting choice here. I believe it's an acting choice because I've seen Stephen Dorff fairly recently in other projects. I actually really enjoyed his show Deputy, which was on Fox a couple years ago. I kind of hoped that series would have gotten a second season. I was absolutely here for it. It was there were two series that were airing simultaneously. They were relatively the same thing about people who were becoming the new sheriff of Los Angeles. The other one starred Edie Falco, and it was on CBS. So I think maybe people were just like, this is a lot. They both aired on Thursdays too, which was also not a great thought to have. So with this movie, we have sort of a backstory, and Heather Graham plays Val, who's this woman with a child who's sort of between these brothers, Thomas and Robert, who's played by an actor of no consequence. And they go to this town, I don't know, retribution or reclamation or Reverberation, or I don't know, some dumb town. It's one of those things where it's a town name, and everybody's in this town. There's some mention of like, I heard all the people here are criminals, and they're all waiting salvation, or so, I don't know, something. I'd actually tried following this film, but it kind of kept folding in on itself. Um, there are not even enough people listed on IMDb credited that could possibly be in the movie. I think there are more characters than there are people credited on IMDb, from what I could tell, anyway. So I'm like, I think we didn't credit all the people, and whatever. So, and then we have Cage plays this character Ben, who is religiously motivated, but also not. Like, there's a scene where something happens and he just like, Jesus fucking Christ. Everybody here is making like a choice with their voice. Like Stephen Dorff's choice is, so I heard what Val Kilmer was like, and I'm going to do that. That's Stephen Dorff's voice in this is so odd of a choice. It's so off-putting of a choice. And I have to go with the fact that it's a choice, because having seen him recently, I don't know that he's sustained any sort of trauma that means that that's the only way that he can speak. But it's such an odd choice for a main character to be so hard to understand for the predominant duration of the film. Then we got Heather Graham, who's in a Western doing essentially what's serious, because this isn't really played as intentional comedy. It has comedic moments to it that are mostly unintentional. And I don't, I'm cool. She's still acting, you know. I mean, there are plenty of actresses who debuted around the same time as her who can't get work anymore, but Heather Graham can still get work, so good for you. That's Nicolas Cage is wasted in this Ben role. He's not even the lead. The character's not interesting. I was bored. I didn't like Gunslingers at all. I actually thought about just coming in on Gunslingers and being like, no. Audio description is also oddly mixed, which is like the leading reason for me coming here. So when I say that, it sometimes can just be a bad mix that the studio sends out. I thought about, well, I could let Lionsgate know, and I was like, is Lionsgate really gonna go to the work of fixing Gunslingers? Because Lionsgate does this thing where they have like 1,000 sort of really like straight to video titles that they just keep throwing at the wall to see if they stick, but they audio describe all of them, and I keep watching them. Alarum, Bloat. You know, I just keep watching these movies that they keep throwing out. And they're not films, the nighttime world. You know, I mean, these aren't films that got theatrical attention, but they have audio description. I mean, so yeah, audio description exists. Roy Samuelson's doing the narration, and it's okay, but the mix, honestly, has been a lot better. It's one of those things where it's like, you know, the mix could be better, and you don't know why the mix is very mid. It's a little like under the volume of the movie. It sounds like the quality is degraded a little bit on what's coming through, like the audio description track itself. But I know Roy doesn't record on like half-ass equipment, but it sounds like it was recorded and mixed in half-ass equipment, like, you know, at home with an older microphone or something. But he's narrating everything. He narrates The Last of Us, you know what I'm saying? Like, he has no problem finding a decent working microphone. So it's something that has to do with probably just the way that the track was laid with the film. And it's possible it could just be specific to if you pull it from the Apple Store, which I did. I actually paid for this. Me. Anyway, so yeah, I was trying to find some sort of context to Gunslingers just to see like what other people, because it has a 5% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is not great. But I found some other critics who were like really all about this and they had gotten to interview the director and the cast, and I'm like, there's the problem. God, man, I swear, like, and I know it's funny. Like, studios seem to be resistant to the idea of catering to the growing number of critics out there, and like, how do we cater to them? And do we give them access? Do we give them screeners? What do we give them? And it's like there's so many people who you can buy goodwill just by pretending that they're part of the conversation. You know, as much as I would love to meet some of these people, I also, if the movie's bad, I can't sit there and be like, yeah, your movie was great, man. So happy to meet you. You know, I didn't like, I love Lady Gaga, but if I just seen Joker Folie à Deux and then had to sit across Lady Gaga and review it, I don't know what we talk about. Probably A Star is Born. And she'd be like, well, why aren't we talking about Joker? And I'm like, do you want to talk about do you really want to talk about Joker Falling? So I I guess there are too many people out there who can be bought, and it's like I can't be. I I've struggled with that, with trying to figure, and I feel worse for independent films that come my way and trying to review them, because it's like, man, this movie has no traction otherwise. And something like Gunslingers, there are going to be almost no channels that review this, because who wants it? Like, who's asking for this? So I'm one of the few people putting something onto YouTube with the content for you to click on that says anything about Gunslingers, and it's not good. I didn't like it. Uh, I'm aware. I looked for Gunslingers reviews. They're not populating. There's like somebody who's didn't even bother to do their own voice, and it's like an AI narration. It's it's a dark world out there, but I guess one of the people out there managed to get in contact with the director, and then they acted like, they're like, I've seen all the director's other films. I was like, I have no idea what these other films are. How do you know this entire director's body of work? What are you watching? What are you subjecting yourself to? There's nothing in Gunslingers that lets me know that this director has done previous work before. It's not like stumbling into Cleaner and interviewing Martin Campbell and then trying to like bamboozle yourself into believing that this is the director of Casino Royale, so this must be good, and then forgetting that he's also directed a whole bunch of crap since Casino Royale. So it's I don't know, man. I don't I know I'm like stepping out of the like reviewing the film and more like reviewing the concept of reviewing the film, but it made me think, like, what are we doing? And I know Lionsgate doesn't screen these movies, but somebody still has to talk about them, because at the end of the day, there are people out there who are wondering, what is this film like? My answer would be not great, not the worst thing that I've seen. And of the films of Nicolas Cage recently, it might be the worst of his sort of like retirement plan, The Old Way, but those films didn't have audio description. So it's kind of unfair for me to say the two films that I saw without audio description, that were all sort of just wastes of time, are better. I don't know that they are. But because I was able to review the totality of Gunslingers, because it was made accessible to me in full form, I'm a little bit more sure that Gunslingers is not a good movie. There's not this ambiguous, like, well, I could be given context through audio description. Not going to change anything. So, and you want to know if the audio description is good, right? Like, you want to know, where did I watch it? Is it human? Like, those kind of things. Because the reality is, as blind people, we live in a world where we're getting a lot of text-to-speech audio description these days, and a lot of AI audio description, like Amazon's Ash, for some reason. And is this human? It's Roy. I love Roy. Like, it's the least great thing that Roy has done recently. I mean, he's done some crappy films, but they've recorded at a level, and they've been transferred and everything at a level where it's like, oh, well, The track sounds good. I can celebrate that. I can't really celebrate anything here. So, I don't really know what to do with Gunslingers. I think inherently I will watch worse films this year, but Gunslingers is one of those films where my brain started to forget it immediately after watching it. I don't know if you've ever had that experience before, but there's some of these films that I've seen this year because I'm already above 100 films in 2025, and there are films of no consequence where the film just immediately gets deleted. I end up remembering the worst films. I end up remembering like my bottom. That's how I know that they're the worst, is because I end up every time somebody mentions them, they bring up this like rage and passion and fire in me. That's not Gunslingers. Gunslingers is falling into the territory of my brain just doesn't think that there's space for it. You know, it's 2 or 3 years from now, somebody will be like, "You saw Gunslingers? What was it about?" I'm like, "Who was in that?" So that's what Gunslingers is. It's just a movie of no consequence. And when Nicolas Cage keeps toying with the idea of saying, "I'm near the end of my career," I don't need to see him show up to support Steven Dorff in a D-rate like Western. I I don't need that in my life. So I have no idea what the action looks like if you're sighted, by the way. I don't know if this was shot well or if it looks good or the color grading is or the choices in cinematography and stuff like that. Those are all things that I would love for audio description to broach. And I recently got into a heated conversation with somebody who thought audio description was doing too much. And I'm like, what the fuck? So yeah, I think it's time to push the medium forward, not backward, to continue to evolve what audio description can be and continue to immerse blind people in the experience. I don't know that I'm going to be more immersed in this, but I would have appreciated at least a mix that didn't sound. I've heard worse mixes, so I'm not gonna completely slam, but this is not. It's clearly not correct. Like that's what I know. Like 100%, I'm sure this is not the best possible mix for this audio description track. So, what am I gonna do with Gunslingers? I'm gonna give it a D and walk away. I don't know, man. There's nothing about this movie, and Cage is always trying to do something interesting with his performances, but he's almost being shown up by Steven Dorff's like wild choice for his character. I actually had to IMDb it because the choice was so wild, and I forgot who was playing who, and I knew Cage was in this. I had to IMDb to see if that was Cage's character. I was like, no, that's Steven Dorff. It's like, what is he doing? Are they like, did they make some sort of like deal to try to one up each other on this film with like weird vocal choices? Cage can't be Dorff. This is the first film ever where Cage is being out caged by somebody. So, I don't know. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. And I will see you guys on the other side.